In this video, I'll reveal what I eat as a type 1 diabetic on a typical day and how living with type 1 diabetes for 42 years has led me to eat the way I do. So I've had type 1 diabetes for a bit over 4 decades. So over the years, I've tried every diet on the planet, basically, and I've tried every non-diet on it. This has led me to eat the way I do now. I tried high protein, lower carb diets in the past. I tried keto. I tried vegetarian. I tried every diet. And basically at that time, I changed the way I ate. And as a result, as you can see here, my A1C dropped into low sixes. And it's been that way from 2019 until now. So you can't argue with results, as I've talked about in my previous diet videos. Let's dive into breakfast. First thing I do in the mornings, and I don't know about you, is coffee. So that's what I'm going to do next. There we go. It's good to go. I was actually going to do a video on coffee because coffee to me has been a challenge with my diabetes over the years. I was told years ago that you could just drink as much coffee as you wanted. It was a free choice. I realized with testing, trial and error, that's what this video is all about. It's a series of 42 years of my experience, and ultimately I need to take insulin for coffee, even if it's black. So anyways, that's my coffee speed. I use these Splendid tablets. The powder stuff does, I don't know, it could be all in my head, but I think it does spike blood sugar a little bit. So I use these. And I don't drink my coffee black. I drink it with cream. I'm just going to put some cream in here, and then I'm going to go sit down and we'll chat. All right, so here I am on my couch. I've got my best dad cup here, drinking my coffee. And I thought, well, I'm going to look up to see if coffee does impact blood sugar. I've already done this before, but I'm going to look it up again. And I've got the Mayo Clinic here. Does caffeine affect blood sugar? For most healthy adults, caffeine doesn't noticeably affect blood sugar. Some studies suggest that drinking coffee, whether caffeinated or decaffeinated, could lead to higher or low blood sugar. Not really. That doesn't tell me much. Anyways, caffeine affects each person differently. So if you have diabetes or you find it hard to control your blood sugar, limiting the amount of caffeine in your diet may be helpful. Not going to happen. I've tried doing that, but I enjoy coffee. So I work my diabetes around drinking coffee versus the other way around. Thank you, Mayo Clinic. And that's typically what I thought and what I said earlier, because when I drink coffee and I don't take any insulin, my sugar spikes about an hour and a half, an hour later, depending on the coffee. It's breakfast time. Thank goodness. So I'm going to have some poached eggs, and I'm going to have carbonate bread. It's a lower carb bread. I find it has minimal effect on my blood sugar. I still take insulin to cover it, even though it has basically 2 grams of carb per slice. It's pretty high in fiber and a lot of protein. I keep it frozen, freeze your bread, because it actually slows down the glycemic index. It lowers it. So glycemic index is important to consider with type 1 diabetes because it impacts how quickly it turns into sugar in your blood. I decided to have bacon. Bacon's bacon, but I do buy the bacon without maple. A lot of it's cured with maple and sugars. I try to find the bacon that has the less amount of additives and less amount of carbs and things like that. So I'm going to use the air fryer to cook the bacon because it's really convenient. But the whole point of this video is to, make sure my mic's on. The whole point of this video is to basically share what I typically eat as a type 1 diabetic of 42 years. And this is what I eat. Throw that in there. Some of the other breakfast options that I do eat when I really want to eat sweeter stuff, I'll buy some mixed berries, usually fresh if I can in the summer. Berries are another one of those breakfast foods, or foods in general for diabetes, that have very little amount of carb. I did a video on fruits, and berries rank really, really high on the favorite diabetic foods because they don't cause blood sugar to spike. And if they do, it's a very small amount and it's very low in carb. A cup of strawberries has about 10 grams of carb versus an apple. Your typical medium-sized apple, and some of the large ones have 30, 35, 40 grams if it's a huge apple. I tend to avoid those high carb fruits for breakfast because they mess with my blood sugar. And breakfast is one of the most challenging meals of the day as well. We're getting up in the morning, our hormones are spiking to get us going, the cortisols and the adrenalines and those things that make us insulin resistant. So that's something to consider, and that's why I eat a lower carb breakfast most of the time. 2 eggs. Food is done. Having technical difficulties here. So 2 poached eggs on 2 pieces of keto bread and some bacon. So a fair decent amount of protein, decent amount of fat, and it will not mess with my sugars. I'll show you a pic of my sugar, and then I'll show you what it does after. All right, well, I'm gonna eat, and I'm just gonna take a bit of insulin and sip and enjoy my coffee and watch the news, which you really don't want to not watch the news. It's kind of boring. Well, now it's time for lunch, and lunchtime for me is a challenging meal, but not as challenging as breakfast in terms of blood sugar control. I typically work Monday to Friday, and I sit a lot, so the choices I make to reduce the impact on my blood sugar is important. So as you already guessed, I eat a lower carb diet. So I usually have a decent portion of protein, a low carb vegetable type choice that's low glycemic index, high fiber. I've tried eating the typical sandwiches. It doesn't work. Sugars go crazy high and it's impossible to get them down no matter what I do. My go-to meals are salads most of the time for lunch. Today I'm going to do something different. I was going to do a salad, but I have some leftover chicken, which is a great thing to have when you're cooking suppers. Make sure you have leftovers. That's my go-to. I make extra the night before, so I have something to take with me to work. Today for lunch, I'm going to have some leftover chicken. Pretty straightforward. I made it yesterday. A couple decks of cards for protein. That's the serving size I choose. Usually 50 to 60 grams of protein. I take a small amount of insulin to cover it, so it's pretty low margin of error. To make life easy today, I buy stuff like this. This is basically a cauliflower mix. I eat a lot of cauliflower type rice, cauliflower mash. I use it to make lots of different variations that I would use potatoes. I use cauliflower. Really low carb count on the back of the package. You can see here, basically rice, cauliflower, and broccoli. I space my meals in about 4 to 5 hours. And I'm not hungry in between because of the types of foods I eat. High protein, low carb, and lots of fat. So while this is cooking, I'm going to check my sugar on my pump and then take a shot in advance. It's another thing that's key to good blood sugar control. Even with this type of diet, I still pre-bolus for about 10-15 minutes before I eat. So let's see what my blood sugar is. My meal earlier, not too bad actually. Hovering around 6, which is what I like, 5.9. So I'm going to take a shot here and wait for the food. Okay, well, it's ready to go. There it is on a plate. I'm going to eat it. Probably about, I don't know, not much carb, lots of protein, nice and fatty, and tasty. Bon appetit. All right, so it's dinner time already, and I pretty much eat the same for dinner that I do for lunch. I just came back from the grocery store, and so tonight we're going Greek style. So the grocery store, I've got some flaki, some shish kebab. We're gonna cook that up. I got chicken and pork. I'm gonna put my daughter to work to help chop vegetables. For my Greek salad, I make it homemade. I use a lemon juice, olive oil, purple onion thinly sliced. I let it soak for about 45 minutes to an hour. Cut up the vegetables, toss it all together. Cucumbers, red peppers, green peppers, tzatziki. Same principles, like I said, high protein, low carb, keeps my sugars level. And keep watching to the end of the video. I'm going to share the whole day's worth of blood sugars to let you know how this meal works and why I do it after 42 years. Supper's done. Check this out, Greek style, shish kebab, souvlaki, tzatziki, Greek salad, homemade, of course. I just can't wait to eat it, so I'm going to eat it right now. All right, so that's basically a day in the life of a type 1 diabetic, myself, and what I eat pretty much every day. Through trial and error and 42 years of living with this diabetes thing, I figured out the best thing that works for me. It may not work for you, and I encourage you to leave comments in the comment section below about what works for you. I'm curious to know. Please check out my last video here I put out yesterday on 5 things that keep my blood sugars in range. Bye for now.